Hello, everyone. Welcome back. This is your host, Dave Keller, Chief Market Strategist here at StockCharts.com in Redmond, Washington. Thanks for joining us on the Final Bar. And thanks now to our guest who I'll bring on, Joel Elconin from Benzinga Radio. Joel, welcome to the show, my friend. Thanks for coming on.
Thank you, David. I must say I'm quite honored to be following the godfather of technical analysis, John Murphy.
I did not prep you that you were coming right after John talking about his
Murphy,
toolkit. So the two of you are now yin and yang.
I'm nervous now. Now I'm sweating and everything. You got me all nervous.
No, you have plenty to share. I know from, and again, it was a joy to come on your show recently. So thanks for returning the favor here. We have a chart of the S&P 500 up. I talked earlier just about a market breaking to new highs. What are you seeing here? How are you thinking about the current market environment?
Well, I mean, there's no resistance, right, David? When a market's making new all-time highs, there's no pain, right? There's no sell-off. So very hard to pick a top in the market, even though I've been known to try and do it on occasion here. I like to do my levels and look like the average daily ranges to try and get a feel for targets. We're right around 27 points in the S&Ps today. We were a little bit below that. But, market is definitely consolidating near the highs of the move, taking out the highs. So it's hard. I mean, I'm not going to attempt to pick a top here. There's a lot of good things, good earnings in the markets. People heard what they wanted to from the Fed today, right? Rates are, they were a little bit tepid, but rates aren't going down or immediately going down, and they're certainly not going up for, anytime soon.
Right. So, in an environment where you have things that just keep going up, and we've phrased this a lot of ways, like don't confuse, brains with the bull market and things like that. When everything's going up, how do you, what do you do with that? How do you identify is there a line in the sand? Do you become a trend follower if you haven't been already, or what do you try to do to identify when something like this runs out of steam?
Well, I guess it depends on, what portfolio, you're talking about. With 99.9% of my money, my portfolio, I do nothing with it. I don't try and time it. I don't look at it. Very conservative investments, a lot of them index based. I find it very hard to beat the market. So from a long-term perspective, I do nothing, and I don't try and pick tops because it's very hard to do. From a shorter term swing day trading perspective, I will at least wait for a double top or a triple top or a pair of closes in the same area. What I find is that, the institutions will, gang up at certain levels, and they're the ones that make the charts. So, I will wait for a double top. I mean, talking about technical analysis, I like to keep it simple, stupid. If I really feel like I need targets on something for a day, I will look at the 9-day average trading range and use that as a potential target. But that's pretty much. I try and keep it simple, stupid.
Keep it simple. Now, we talked just before we came on the air about Facebook, obviously reporting after the close. It looks like it's up pretty decently in the after hours, up 3 odd percent. So up, 194 or so. I have the chart of it up here. So we sort of, if that holds into tomorrow, we're above the previous range. I mean, how do you think of something like Facebook? It's obviously been range bound. It's been kind of a yawner for the last 2 months. Is this enough if we break to the upside? Is that enough to push it out, or how do you address a name like this?
Just real quickly, a nice beat on the top and bottom line, 212 versus 191, and then a slight beat on the revenues. To be honest with you, after watching that Zuckerberg testimony, has nothing to do with technical analysis. I'm a little bit tepid on the stock, and I did not want to short it going into the report. Because, they've had a great history of beating. But my focus will be, as of right now, you have a pre-market or an after-hours high of 196.45. We backed $3.50 off that level. So I'll be keen on that tomorrow. If we can barrel through that 196.45, close above 200, then I'll be looking for a move up to new all-time highs. But for me being a contrarian here, I'm kind of looking this as a little bit of a shorting opportunity.
Right. Very interesting. So just because we have just a minute left, just because
Sure.
this is the first time on the show, I'd love to just, could you talk very briefly? I mean, where do charts fit into your process? How do you think about it? And do you have a disciplined way, have a consistent way that you tend to go through what you're seeing on the charts?
I go through charts and the levels the same way every day that I've been doing for several years. And it's I'm old-fashioned guy. I like the pivot points, pivot point formula to get your daily pivot. I look at weekly pivots and also quarterly pivots for numbers, and then daily highs and lows. And then the more you get, if you get, for instance, tomorrow, if Facebook. I wouldn't call it the double top because it was after our session, but I keep it very simple.
Yeah.
I do my S&P levels as soon as they close at 415. I have the sheet in front of me, and I do the best to follow it during the trading day, but nothing fancy, David.
The best thing you just said, Joel, and I swear I did not feed you this, but thank you for answering this way. You kept it simple and you kept it consistent. And that is one thing I've found, especially with people getting started. They sort of bounce around to a lot of different things and don't have a really consistent process. So that's a really, really good takeaway, especially for newer traders, newer investors. So thanks for saying that. Listen, I really appreciate you coming on. I know you are a lifelong Michigan fan. As you know, I'm an Ohio State alum. It's so good we can come together in the spirit of StockCharts and harmony to talk markets. So thank you, my friend, for coming on the show. I appreciate it.
Go Blue.
That's it. Joel's off the show. That's it. It's done. No, pleasure to have Joel. And Joel's from the Detroit area. I had a really, really good time talking with him over the last couple months, and pleasure to have him on. Boy, it's really, really cool on the show to have a lot of different people sharing some of their approaches, sharing what they do. So really appreciate it.